Hi, Thomas.
Okay.
I'm assuming they're all long-term injuries now, I'm thinking, but the one isn't long-term is Mickey van der Ven. What's the latest on him for Sunday and any other news team-wise?
Mickey is a minor one. It will be touch and go for Sunday. We're hoping he was on the pitch yesterday, on the pitch today. Hopeful for that, but it's touch and go.
Congratulations through to the last 16. Very impressive. Is the message now, because of no playoff, to forget about it and the full focus is now on the league?
For me, it's always been full focus on the next game. So it's full focus on Man City on Sunday. We definitely need to build on some good performances. I said not everything been perfect, but now as I calculate the last 10, it's more consistent. It's more we compete better. We are constantly improving, but especially the last 3 games, it's much more over 90 minutes. And I think the 3 performances that's the thing we need to bring into to Sunday and going forward.
In September, you said to me you don't look at the league table till April. But back then, did you imagine that you'd be around 14th?
No, I didn't. I'm very aware, and I think I said that a few times. I'm very aware that you always hope for more. You always in football, small things you can turn and you can get a little momentum, or sometimes you get more. Sometimes for whatever reason you don't get the momentum. Very aware that this season is a season where we are, as always, and we should be for Tottenham, very ambitious. But it is a transitional season. A transitional season where we need to be very ambitious, do as good as we can in every single competition, and I definitely expected and hoped and believed that we will be higher, but I also think it's fair to say some of the margins, the bits, we could easily like this have had 6 points more in a completely different talk. Unfortunately, we haven't, and it is what it is, and we need to keep going.
Deadline day Monday, you've had so many injuries. Is it about the right person now and also going forward? We know there's players who are offered to clubs. We understand Raheem Sterling is not one on the list, but because you look for the future as well as the now, is there maybe a possibility there might not be any new arrivals on Monday?
I said it, the club worked relentless to try to do the best they can to improve the squad, especially Johan, Fabio, and Vinay, and of course all the people behind them. I mean it. We can't be too obsessed with short-term fix that not helping on the long term, because if we don't do that, we will not. All the hard work we put in now can be limited for the future, and that's not that we want badly short-term success as well. I can promise that the Lewis family is super committed to this project. They want to do everything, and I will go against my rule, hopefully only once. That there's no doubt, it's clear that the club wants to sign Semenyo. They did everything. I think that's a clear signal that the Lewis family is very committed. That's a big signing with finances and all that. So it's aligned, but that's the quality players we are looking for to improve the squad. And if we can't find that, then it's definitely better to take the right decision. It's not the same that we're just getting quality players going forward, because we all know it's not that easy. And I'm sure if we're not, for whatever reason, able to get another player in or players in this window, then for the summer it is a big summer ahead, and I'm not in doubt we'll see big improvements there.
Hi Thomas, good afternoon. Dominic Solanke, lovely goal against Frankfurt, played well in general. Before that, scored against Dortmund in the Champions League. In general, how pleased are you with his fitness, his recovery process, and how sharp and ready is he for this weekend? It's a big game.
It was so nice to have him back when he was through on goal. It was so nice. That's a fine there, by the way. I don't know what the rules you have, guys, down here, but there must be internal fine system there. Yeah. It was so nice when Dom was through on goal that you just had that feeling, okay, this is a goal. and he just proved that. It was like always. There's a lot of thought process and analysis behind every decision we try to make in team selection and on the pitch and all that. And of course, it's tough not to bring Dom again in a very important game. But all signs, all my experience told me that it's not the right thing to do that. Kolo did very well, and then he came on and killed the game for us. He's still building, but he's ready to start on Sunday.
Question about Pep Guardiola. Not too many managers in the league managed to beat Pep. At Brentford, he managed to beat him several times. You beat him in the summer as well. What's the biggest challenge of facing a Pep Guardiola side? And how different is this current version of Man City, this version of 25-26?
Pep is the best coach in the world. He proved that many times. I think what he's done over the years is he's extremely innovative. He's always changing and how can I say, playing around with the positions, offensive positions, different types in different positions. And he do it again now. He's from going maybe wide wingers to a little bit more inside, depending on how he plays it with the Cherki or Foden or Semenyo or Haaland or Reinders or wherever, so he's playing around the different offensive positions. I think the City team now, when they're in full flow, I think there's threat from so many angles that we need to be aware of. But I also see some areas that we hopefully can explore.
Question about Marc Guéhi. We obviously faced him many times as a Palace player. First time we're going to face him as a City player. There was interest from plenty of clubs, from the UK, from abroad as well. How impressive have you been with his progress throughout the last several years? Would you consider Marc Guéhi one of the best defenders in Europe?
I've seen Guéhi all the way from Swansea, where we played him in the Championship, so that's a few years. So he's been on quite a journey, and he's impressed me. In many ways, he's extremely composed in all his defensive actions, so that means he's never rushing. To have a calm defender is a good thing, because normally they're in the right position and they clear calmly, and on the ball he take amazing decisions.
Hi Thomas, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You spoke about having Dominic Solanke back. How vital is that to you when you consider as well the fact that a lot of your goals recently have come from your two centre-halves, rescuing you in games, Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero?
I think it's. I think there's first and foremost, it's extremely positive. We have two defenders scoring that many goals. If then we can add more goals from our offensive players, then we will be in a good place. I think we have a lot of offensive talent in for example, Wilson and Mattis Tell. And I also think we have it in Xavi. He's played quite a lot. He's still only 22. I think all the three of them will score a lot of goals going forward. But of course, they're not as proven goal scorer or as proven goal scorers in the Premier League. Xavi has scored quite a few goals in the past. So miss our can say main striker. I don't think any team is happy with that for 6 months. That's been, of course, a blow. But hey, that we need to handle. So to have Dom back in, but not only for his goal scoring abilities. Clearly, you've seen that now in the two Champions League games. But also, I think his hold-up play, his link play, his ability to press, and just that presence on the pitch and in the changing room, that's big.
Do you worry a little bit mentally about your team? Sorry, do you worry about your team's mentality a little bit? Because Champions League is fine. You've got the fourth best team in Europe according to the Champions League table. Premier League, you're 8 points off the relegation zone, 10 points off the Champions League. So kind of shows it's the other way around. Do your players prefer playing in Europe to playing in the Premier League?
I don't think that. I think it's a bit more complex than that. I think it's a skill as an individual player and as a team to perform every third or fourth day in Premier League and in Europe, no matter if it's Conference League, Europa League or Champions League. And when you take it up a notch from Europa League to Champions League, is even more difficult. I think it's fair to say we've seen it over the years with a club that is not as used to it year in year out, that can be tough to do that because it's the physical load, it's the mental load that they need to be able to produce again and again and again. And I think we've seen some how can I say some good signs of it, and I actually think we haven't been that bad after Champions League games. I think actually we had some good performances after that. I think if we let's say in the Christmas spell there had got 6 points more, we wouldn't have the talk we're talking about now. But the robustness to physically, mentally is the biggest thing, and that's a learning curve. I don't think you have many players in our squad that have done that just for 2 seasons. So that's a learning.
Last one, a couple of years ago when the City came to Spurs, it was right at the end of the season. And some Spurs fans were a bit conflicted about who they wanted to win, because if Spurs won, they were happy because they were Spurs fans, but if City won, they were happy because it stopped Arsenal winning the title. We're a little bit further out now, but do you think on Sunday some Spurs fans might have a similar kind of mindset?
I don't know. I know that the Spurs fans will how can you say will support the team. Understand the conflict, but I'm not in doubt they'll be happy if we perform well and beat City. It's important for us, and it's all about us. And we, the staff, the players will do everything we can to put a top performance out there and win.
Just want to ask you about the 3-4-3, the formation. It feels like it's unlocking kind of parts of the team now. Is that something you've been considering for a while, or was it the availability of players you wanted to do a shape that fitted them really?
I think it's a combination of. I think it's always try to get our best players in their best possible positions. And I think with the players available, it suited them quite well, 3-4-3. I knew we more or less will do it against Dortmund no matter what, because the way they came, I think that will suit the game plan and everything. Look good. And then on top of that, with the players' availability and so on, so then we carried on for the following 2 games. And it's definitely something I'm looking into. We could consider going forward with, because I think a lot of our players look good in that. And I think also there's a lot of good bits, especially offensively. 3-4-3 looks good. Closer connections that I like.
Obviously, so many long-term injuries now, and Brennan Johnson also leaving. Is it fair to say that your squad is, the best way to put it, kind of weaker than it was when you went into the transfer window?
In January? Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we lost I can't remember, 6 or 7 players inside 3 weeks in January. So that's crazy. And some of them extremely unlucky with definitely Lucas and Ben was clear contact injuries. Then there was I can't remember all of them, but there was definitely too many. So yeah, of course it's weaker than we started the 1st of Jan.
The reason I ask is kind of like, I mean, how do you kind of, as a club, I guess, keep your nerve with this short-term, long-term idea when you could leave yourself so short for the rest of the season?
Yeah. That's a good question. But I think the best clubs, they take good, calm, sensible decisions. Also, when it's how can we say, a little bit windy and not going as well as we wanted to, because I think that's key for what we want to build. It's absolutely key. And I also think there is some players that are looking to come back relatively quick-ish in Petro and Richie, definitely. I think there's 2 on top of my head. So that will help as well, of course.
Thomas, just on Dominic Solanke, has he felt like a new signing for you, that you've managed to get him back and get some minutes out of him? And in terms of just him as the focal point of the team, Tottenham probably haven't had a lead out-and-out striker since the days of Harry Kane. Now, I'm not asking you to compare him to Harry Kane, but just as a talisman for the team, what can he do for the next 4 months going forward?
I know. I think he's always like Dom when I follow him for many years here in England. I think the last season he had in Bournemouth, he was absolutely on fire. It was 19 goals, something like that in the Prem. Then he was a little bit unlucky. He's normally super robust player. And then he came to Spurs and he got an ankle injury and then another one. So he had a little bit disrupted last season, but still scored a decent amount of goals and looked like a threat. And he was one of the players when I stepped in the club. I said, I'm sure he will score a lot of goals for us. I'm not in doubt. He got all the qualities, the way he want to play, the principles I have. The goal scorers are normally produce number nines. He will do the same. I'm not in doubt of that at all. So it feels a little bit like a new signing, and he will only get better the next weeks.
Can I ask you? You mentioned Semenyo. That's quite a commitment from the owners that they're prepared to pay what appears like 65 million. So, I mean, that could be records transfer. So just how close did it get? What could he brought to the team? And what is the signal from the owners that they're going to give you that sort of money to rebuild this team?
I think the biggest thing, and the question I would answer is, I think it showed big commitment from the Lewis family. And I think the fans and everyone involved should not be in doubt of that. They're really committed to this is going to be successful. We all want it to be a bit better, but all the processes, all the things is, beginning to tick behind the scenes. I'm not in doubt we will see big benefits of that in the future. I'm not in doubt. And I'm not in doubt that we will improve and we will do better throughout the season. And I'm not in doubt we'll take a good step, massive step forward in the summer as well. They are very committed.
And I know you're saying you feel like the team's getting a bit more consistent, but so many times this season we've sort of seen Tottenham so up and so down. I mean, how do you make sure that you're not going to have a down performance from the players on Sunday against Man City?
I really wish I could say that I'm 100% sure it'll be top, but I have a very good feeling because you're working with human beings, and that's the beauty of it. But I'm convinced that we will perform well again on Sunday. Because it just looks better and better, and of course we are facing a top team with top players, but we are ready for it.
Thank you. Finish this section with George.
Hi, Thomas. Appreciate you sort of openly talking about Semenyo then, and I'm sure fans would as well. Can you kind of understand why, from the fans' point of view, as much as it sounds obviously encouraging the club are going for Semenyo, it's also more words rather than actions? Can you understand why they sort of feel like they need to see more actions, especially this month?
The fans just want the best for the club, just like I want the owners, the staff, the players, everyone want the best for the club. But I also think it's fair to say that the transfer window it's not Football Manager, unfortunately. It is not. It would be a lot easier, but also a little bit more boring. We will not have as many good stories to talk about in the last 30 days. You couldn't go to work at basically because there's nothing to write about or talk about. So it is very difficult. The transfer market. It's an art. It's a craftsmanship. You need to be very good at it. And then there's always need to be a selling club that wants to sell. There needs to be a club that wants to buy. As a player in the middle also want to come. So that's always the challenge. What I'm happy is that I think we've already done great business in getting Connor in. I think that's a great deal and a great player and fits everything we want for this club. And the commitment they show about, you can say, Semenyo, I think is a big step. I'm just repeating myself. I'm not doubt it'll be very good going forward.
And obviously the Champions League is on pause now until middle of March. How kind of confident are you that when you get to the middle of March, the club are not going to be embroiled in a relegation battle? Because I think some fans are concerned the team is sort of sleepwalking into a relegation battle given the Premier League results.
I of course understand that the result has not been good enough. No doubt about that. But and there's been spells in some of the games where I'm a bit disappointed with that we of course addressed that we're working on. But I think the biggest thing we've seen it throughout the season is we have a team that is running hard. You can look visually, you can look at the physical numbers, you can look at all that. They're just running hard, and I think a good indicator as well is some of we've talked about it a few times, the 3 second halves where we're behind at halftime, running very hard to the end. I think that's the foundation you need to build anything on. So it's one game at a time, and we are ready for City, and it's all about that.
And just finally, you mentioned Pedro and Richarlison are the ones kind of the closest ones, obviously they're a little way away. Arsenal on February 22nd, would that kind of be a roughly potential time for them to come back?
That could be a dream scenario, and a scenario could happen, but that we will know a little bit more when we get closer. But it's in that bracket.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast.